Hi everyone, hope you're all doing well. Right, so today we're going to do a tarot reading on the Whitehouse farm case. Just revisit it again because I did a previous reading, I think it was a couple of years ago, and just revisit that case and see what comes up. But I'm going to focus more on the bike situation, because the prosecution said Jeremy used a bike to get there and back from the farm. But I think, you don't have a getaway vehicle as a pushbike. You just don't do that. It just sounds really ridiculous. So we're going to have a look at that. Right, let's just jump into it, because no one's really looked at this around the bike situation. So I'm gonna have a look at it and see what comes up. Right, so let's have a look around the bike situation. Supposedly the getaway vehicle, which is, it's a complete joke. Right, so let's have a look, see what comes up. Yeah, so the problem here is, at the moment, well, I say at the moment, for 41 years, nearly 41 years, this case has been at a standstill. Because I think the problem is the prosecution and the defence, they've never really given a solid, believable alternative. So this is why it's been at a standstill for 41 years. That's why he's still in prison. So that's the first thing that shows up. It looks like he's been spiritually protected, because I don't feel, I know he's got a campaign of supporters, but I don't think he's really had the support that he really needs. And I think it's all down to this bike. Now, if they can get, I don't even know if they've got the bike anymore, but if they can get this bike, do some DNA testing on it, because the thing is, it's physically impossible as well. So I just don't feel that he's had the right support, but he is being spiritually protected. And it's just a frustrating case for the 41 years. Now, in 1985, in August of 1985, I remember that well, because I worked near One Tree Hill in Basildon in Essex. I worked at a kennels there, and I had 2 push bikes. One had a basket on the front, and the other one was like a racer type bike. But they were like quite rattly, like rattly bone shakers. So that's what bikes were like in the 80s. So with this bike they're talking about, it's going to be a rattly bone shaker, isn't it? People, if he's going through this village to get to this farmhouse, people are going to see him. People are going to hear him. And, you know, there's like milk floats at that time in the morning going out, cars going by, waking people up because that's all they can hear. There's this bike rattling and shaking. So they've got to look all into this. And I remember that month it was raining a lot as well. So the thing is, he would have had mud on him. So if he went in the farmhouse, all that's going to be traipsed all into the farmhouse, isn't it? And I remember it was windy as well. So, you know, the weather conditions, that doesn't make sense to use a bike. And we've got here hidden things that haven't come out in the open. And I think the key to this is the bike. It's the bike. They need to re-examine that. And the thing is, it's not just the bike, it's the phone calls as well. You know, they've got police phone call logs that Neville phoned the police at 3:26 a.m. Then he must have phoned Jeremy at his cottage, woke him up, because you're going to be asleep, aren't you, at that time in the morning. Woke him up, he picked the phone up, he's told him that the sister's gone berserk with a gun, and then at, I think it was 3:36 a.m, Jeremy phones Essex police. But the first phone call to Essex police, the police are already out, going to the farmhouse. So really, basically, the bike scenario, it doesn't exist. Because he was never there. That's the thing. Right, let's see what else comes up. You know, those bikes in the 80s, they sound like a scrapyard on wheels, honestly. That's what they sounded like. And someone's going to hear that. He was never seen on a bike. Never heard on a bike. Because, you know, he weren't on the bike. Right, let's have a look at the conclusion now. So we're looking at the bike, looking at the weather conditions on that morning. Those phone calls as well. Let's see what else comes up. What they need is, they need an analyst, forensic, to do a DNA on that bike if it's still there, if it still exists, and also to look at the weather conditions on that morning. I mean, it's laughable because it feels like it's something out of Some Mothers Do Have 'Em. Frank Spencer. It's the sort of thing he would do. If Frank Spencer was committing a crime, he would go on the pushbike, wouldn't he? Or even with him skateboard. It would be that ridiculous. And, and this is what, it just sounds ridiculous, honestly. Because it is, because it never existed. Right, so with the conclusion, what I'm getting is this man's been in prison for 41 years. Travelling alarm clock, that's what it is. Travelling alarm clock that never passed through Essex, this bike. It's all made up. It's all fantasy. And the thing is, physics, logic, and Essex itself confirms that, because people are nosy as well. Twisting curtains and all that. If they're hearing a bone shaker of a bike going along, it's just ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous. So, I feel, looking at this, it's the bike and also those phone calls is the key to this. And don't forget, if he is innocent, he's lost a family. His whole family he's lost as well. And, being in prison for nearly 41 years as well for, a crime that he didn't commit. It's this bike theory. It's just physically impossible. Right, so that's what I'm getting. What I feel I will do, I might even go over there because it's not far from me, that Whitehouse farm, and we'll look at the lanes, have a look around the area, get a feel of it. Right, so that's what I'm getting today. Take care, bye for now.